Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraya Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki Om Jnanatimindasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmutam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Vidarthi Swapadanti Kaham Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajeeva Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Kadam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripi Vachakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shivasari Gopal Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Yes. Om Shnupadaya Krishna Krishna Prabhupada Tatya Shigiri Rajaya Swami Suvakara Ras Bihari Ibn Bhakti Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishna Vishwati Tirivanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shri Radhika Swati Shatari Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangam Nangayati Tirivya Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatana. So, here we are studying Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, and Text 11. So it's a study. Please don't forget that we are actually studying, and it's something very serious. And we have to do it with great commitment. And you should be able to repeat what you are learning. Like, I remember how when I first started, I guess teaching. And then I heard one of the students give a class. And it was so nice to hear, this devotee, how he repeated the philosophy, because this is Guru Parampara, we are learning, right? This is a science, so we are learning. So I heard him repeat, and then he brought in his own practical experience, which was so unique to his own situation, his own area where he lives. And then I realized that it's never, this is called rasa, right? It's like you learn the ABC, and then, when the child starts speaking and making their own sentences and speak, yeah, I guess that's what you call rasa. So the study of Shrimad Bhagavatam is like that. So I'm reading line by line and I'm teaching it, but when you're going to repeat it, each and every one of us, we are going to put in our own color to it, which makes it unique. So this verse, so chapter Canto 1, chapter 2, text 11. Vadanti tat-tatvavidas tattvam yajnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. Learned transcendentalists. Who are those learned transcendentalists? Tattva-vidaha. Tattvavit. In those who have seen, have the vision of tattva. Anybody can tell me what is this meaning of tattva?
Potency.
I didn't ask vit. I asked what is tattva? Tattva vit. The vit meaning those who are seeing. What is the meaning of tattva?
The translation says absolute truth.
Absolute truth. So now we are going to segregate this up, like, how do you call it? Like you have the sunlight and then it gets dispersed and separated into 7 colors, right? Now this absolute truth, we are going to segregate it into its, how many colors?
7.
Anupama, how many colors?
7.
So they are in the verse, right?
3.
Yes, so you have to learn this. Okay. Param Satyam, right? Or the absolute truth. Param Satyam. Absolute truth, meaning it's not a relative truth. So we have explained how the relative truth, meaning it is truth today in relationship to something else, maybe in relationship to time. Your body is small according to the time frame. You have become visible on earth for 5 years, so your body looks this much. If after 16 years, your body has been visible, so this is relative to the time that you become visible. So you look 16, then when you're 60, so oh, 60, it is relative. Or relative in terms of your relationships. Oh, you're 5-year-old, so you are somebody's daughter. Or you are 30 years old, you're somebody's mother, right? It's relative, right? And you're 60 years old, you're somebody's grandma, right? It's relative. Nothing is truth in this. It's a relative truth. It is temporary truth, and it keeps on changing. All right. And then vanish, you disappear completely. And only, some people remember you. Then after 1 generation, nobody remembers you, right? Do you remember your great-grandmother 4 or 5 generation from now? Do you remember? And they say, maximum a generation can subsist is 7 generation, right? We say 7 generations. This is as far as you can trace back, 7, and then it's lost. It's lost. And the biggest irony that sometimes you take birth in your own generation. You're your own great-grandmother. All right. So what is all this? One time you're the grandma, and then one time you become the grandchild. Right. This is relative truth. I'm giving you graphic examples of whatever we've been reading in different places. All right. So you remember that relative truth means it's changing. It's like it's illusory. It's an illusory truth. Real for a very short span, and so short because it's keep on flickering, moving at such a fast pace. You don't even realize when from you're 16, you're 25. A 16-year-old girl looks very much different from a 25-year-old girl. She's a woman, actually, 35 years old. Look so different. Relative, but that absolute truth is what? Non-dual. Body and soul is not different. Why is it that there is this relative truth? Because the body is changing. I think all of us, we are reading Bhagavad Gita. No? There's one famous verse, maybe it's 12:16. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubhayor api drishtontas. Can somebody find it? I'm very bad at remembering verses. Let's find it. 2:16. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah. A definition is given of what is sat and what is asat. What is real and what is unreal. Got the Gita? You can't find it?
2.16. Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata. That one?
Memorizing the verses, so I remember.
Mataji, it's 2.16.
No, now tell me the full verse. I could recite only 3 lines. Ubhayor api drishtontas tvanayas tattva darshi. Okay. Translation. Those who are seers of the truth, okay, have concluded that of the non-existent material body, there is no endurance. So this is relative truth. Okay? No endurance, doesn't endure, doesn't last. And in ordinary language, everywhere they float around this famous slogan, constant is the change is the constant, right? That's what they say. Change is the constant. And here it is. Your body is changing. That's why it's asat. And we have to keep on adjusting to the new situation. Right? So it's a relative truth, asat. And then na bhava vidyate sataha. And there is, and of the eternal, so there is no change. So that which never changes is the absolute truth. Now, because Jiva, we have accepted a material body, so we are going to this relative truth. But the Supreme Lord never accepts a material body, so therefore there's no change. And this substance, tattvam yajnanam advayam. Advayam meaning non-dual, not two, one only. His body is one only, not two. We are having 2 bodies. We are actually having 3 bodies. We are having a gross body, subtle body, and the soul, our real self. So 3 bodies. But here, that substance Brahman, is non-dual. So that non-dual substance is known as Brahmeti, Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahma iti known as Brahman, Paramatma iti known as Paramatma, Bhagavan iti known as Bhagavan. Shabdyate, it's so sounded. So they call Shabda. Shabdyate means Shabda, meaning sound. So they utter this sound. So what do they say? They say that this substance is non-dual. That one substance is non-dual. And it is known as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. You know, the most unfortunate thing is that the way we are reading Prabhupada's books, and we are very seriously and sincerely learning what Prabhupada is teaching. But believe me, there are many other people, because we are distributing lakh and I think billion books we have already distributed. So those who are after knowledge, there are many who are not interested, they just dump the book somewhere. But there are some people who are avid for knowledge. So what do? They will pick the book, they will read, and then they will write their own philosophy. And you can be sure they will going to take this point, 2.11. They will definitely take this point, and they will discuss it, and they will distort it in their own way. Right. Oh, so that's why people in India who are very seekers of the absolute truth, they run after everybody, because these quacks, they select real verses from the Shastra. So you say, yes, right? This is a Vedic shlok. So they will write their own books, or they will quote something and then they put in their own philosophy. So if you are new, if you are new to Krishna consciousness, we are teaching you now, all right? So you have to learn properly. Not sometimes you get bored, I'm reading all the time Prabhupada's books, let me check out some other books. And you will find, these verses, but they have cooked up their own philosophy. One time in Mauritius, we came across one book. So when you read that book, so I don't know how it came to us, a small book. So we read that book. You know what it was? It was perfect question, perfect answers. All right? Only the names have been changed. The names have been changed. Who is asking question, who is answering? This is how quacks are. So like that, like all those versions of Mahabharata or Ramayana, specifically Ramayana, I think more than Mahabharata. Mahabharata is so complicated. But the Ramayana is more like a love story, a tragedy, it's so many things, right? So many people, they will pick up the story of Ramayana and then they will put in their own movie star there, their own movie script. Oh, yeah, Anupama, right? You are writing script, right? Real dialogue, right? Real life dialogue, it has to be, then it's interesting, right? So where you will get the script? It has to be real life. So they will take their basis, the Shastras, and then they will write their own script. And poor people, they will watch the movie and think that's the movie. This is that Shastra. So this verse is very important, because it just came to my mind when I was a teenager, when I was seeking, I did come across this verse or this description, but not at all what Prabhupada is describing. So purport. The absolute truth is both subject and object. And there is no qualitative difference there. Okay, what does that mean? Therefore, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are qualitatively one and the same. The same substance is realized as impersonal Brahman by the students of the Upanishads, as localized Paramatma by the Hiranyagarbhas or the yogis, and as Bhagavan by the devotees. In other words, Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personal Godhead, is the last word of the absolute truth. So example is given, right? Sunshine, sun glow, and sun god. Okay? Sunlight is spread everywhere. Sun globe is localized. All right? And inside is the sun god. I mean, all that was so intriguing to me, It took me my entire life to understand all this, whether this is fact or fiction. Believe me, it took me my entire life. I'm in old age now. So, it took me a long, super long time. So, sunshine. From the day I was born in ISKCON, Prabhupada speaks about that. But it took me my entire life to be able to see it. So sunshine is spread everywhere. Now that sun globe. This sun globe, when we look up in the sky, we see the sun, right? What is that sun globe? The scientists will say, what do the scientists say? Anybody knows? What scientists say, what is the sun?
Planet.
Is it planet?
Hydrogen explosion happening. That's what some
Yeah, it is just gas explosion,
continuous explosion.
right?
Oh.
Yeah, they say, and for me, I never knew that until, I don't know, maybe we were studying some Bhagavatam, I don't know how, and I started researching because, I become very curious. As soon as I read something, I want to see. Oh my God! Then I found out that the scientist thing is just a ball of gas. Like right now, we heard there has been explosion, like solar storm. There has been a solar storm, and it is creating huge havoc in huge havoc somewhere in US. But they say that this solar storm is going to cause Alaska ice to melt, is what they are saying. Anyway, I don't know what next will happen, but what I'm saying that this sun, okay. So I'm thinking, they think it is just a ball of gas, but it has a definite circumference, right? It's very clean and neat. And to me, when you speak of gas, gas means that which spreads everywhere, right? So what is it that's holding? What is it that's holding that gas in a perfect ring? So impersonal Brahman is the rays of the sun, and the sun globe is held. It's held in a perfect shape. What sun? when the sun glow. So see, if you don't study the Vedic literature, if you don't study Prabhupada Bhagavatam, you will really be made a fool of. Usually people think, the other side think that those who study Bhagavatam, they're fools. And from our side, when we study Bhagavatam, we say, they're fools. The scientists are fools. They cannot even describe what is the sun, which is so, and their whole science is based on believing. Seeing is believing. So I see with my eyes that the sun is a perfect round shape. But you say, no, it's not a perfect round, it is a gas. And then beyond that light. Okay, so what kind of gas is it? It's fire, actually. It's actually fire. And from where that fire is emanating, it's emanating from the living beings who are residing on planet Surya. And there is a presiding deity, there's a chief, just like every country has a chief. So similarly, the sun planet has a chief, a king, a president, right? And of course, he's the most powerful among everyone. So that vision is given to us only when we study Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? We could never guess, all who us who went to school, we look up in the sky, we speak of the sun. And no detail was given, only that without the sun, there's no life. I remember that much from my school. I didn't learn anything more than that. So this Hiranya Garbha, Hiranya means gold actually. It's a golden shape, Hiranya Garbha. We're going to study all this gradually. So, the yogis, they are perceiving Paramatma, the localized Paramatma. But those who are penetrating inside the sun globe, those who are actually able to access that Paramatma, they are able to establish a relationship with the Paramatma. Then this is Bhagavan. Alright, so therefore Prabhupada is saying, Bhagavan is the last word of the absolute truth. Okay, I have given you a very graphic example, which is Prabhupada described in this text itself. Are you able to visualize it? Are you going to remember this? How is it that Bhagavan is the last word of the absolute truth? You know how happy you will be if you meet the sun god, right? You've heard so much about him. Surya Dev. You know, just like sometimes, like if I'm following something like, I like this, I want to learn something about health and yoga. So there's this one lady, she's elderly, but she's so sweet. She's like, I feel I want to meet this person. And one time I went to her yoga studio also, institute. And then they showed her on screen, and I thought, oh, and then they said she will come such and such day. And I thought, oh, I want to go and meet this person. She doesn't know me, but I got to know her, online. Right? And I think I want to, like, it's as if I know her. And sometimes, even among our devotees also, so they put themselves on YouTube and we like their songs, etc., etc. Then they come to the temple and they are singing right in the mud and say, oh, I know this boy, but he doesn't know me, I realize. Right? Right. So he doesn't know me, but I know him. And I like his singing. And I like his style. He's so sweet. He was a Gurukul boy and he was like so sweet. So that this boy doesn't know me. That Bhagavan we want to know. We are hearing about him. All right? We are hearing about him. We are feeling attracted by different things about him. But the good luck, good thing is that he knows us, that we have forgotten him. Right. Yes, so Prabhupada is saying that this Paramatma is the partial representation of the person Godhead, and impersonal Brahman is the glowing effulgence of the person Godhead, are the sun rays are to the sun God. Okay? Less intelligent students of either of the above schools sometimes argue in favor of their own respective realization. But those who are perfect seers of the absolute truth know well that the other three features are of one absolute truth, or different perspective views seen from different angles of vision. So the Brahmavadis will say, yes, it's all Brahman, only Brahman. And then the yogis say, no, it's Paramatma, right? And those who are seers of the absolute truth, Bhagavan said, let's see that Bhagavan, his effulgence is Brahma Jyoti, and his localized form is Paramatma. Like I just example given, sun globe, sun god. As it is explained in the first shloka of the first chapter of the Supreme of the Bhagavatam, the supreme truth is self-sufficient. Let's go back. First shloka. He is Janmani Asya Yaton Vayat Itaratas Charteshvagya Swarat. Swarat. He is self-sufficient, abhigya, cognizant, and free from the illusion of relativity. Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra tisargo mrisha. Amna swena sada nirasta puhakam satyam param dhimahi. So he is self-sufficient, he is cognizant, and free from the illusion. This Amrisha. Amrisha means looks factual, but actually is not factual. Nirasta kuhakam, free from this illusion. Who is that? That's Satyam Param Dhina. Satyam Param is the absolute truth. All right, Satyam, you're seeing it? Text 1, chapter 1, text 1. Param Satyam Param. Param Satyam, absolute truth. So in the relative world, the knower is different from the known. But in the absolute truth, both the knower and the known are one and the same thing. You're seeing somebody in your own household. All right? You're living in your own household and you say, I don't know this person. Your own child. Your own child say, I don't know this person. Why? Because externally the person is behaving, speaking in a certain way, when the actual soul, what this poor person is going through, you can't know. Is it true? Can anyone of us say that anybody knows you? So that's why we say you know yourself better than anybody else. Right? The knower and the known. Your body is behaving in a certain way. It's external actions. You are a wife, you're behaving as a wife to the world. But actually inside what you are, who knows? So it's duality. Whereas with Krishna, the duality is not there. In the relative world, the knower is the living spirit or the superior energy. Whereas the known is inert matter or inferior energy. Just like if your hand falls sick, who reacts? All right, your hand falls sick. Who reacts? Reacts. Some thinking there, use your intelligence. If your hand falls sick, all right, who reacts? You react, isn't it? You're anxious. Your hand, it has nothing to do with you. It's your hand, right? It's your hand. If your hand falls sick, it's not you. But who reacts? It's you. The hand is inert, right? It inert. Suddenly some cramp happened to it, right? It's experiencing the cramp, all right? The hand has nothing to do, and then suddenly everything becomes all right, as if nothing happened, right? And who is knowing that something has happened to the hand? I'll give you another example, like the child. The child falls and starts screaming. Who reacts? The mother. The mother is in such distress, right? The poor child, you say, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, you will fall, you will hurt yourself. The child doesn't know anything. Who is in anxiety? The mother, right? So the knower is the living being. The known is the matter, which is inert. Your hand is inert. It's separate from you. There's a duality of inferior and superior energy, whereas in the absolute realm, both the knower and the known is of the same superior energy. In the absolute realm, so that applies to both the Supreme Person Godhead, and it also applies to us, the soul. In the spiritual world, your hand is actually your own self. It is your own self. You are not looking out of your body and seeing your hand and your legs. There's no difference between your self and your body. Your body is yourself. So here I repeat it again. In the relative world, the knower is the living spirit or superior energy. Whereas The known is inert matter or inferior energy. So I gave you the example of your hand, you know, your hand becomes diseased. And who's experiencing the whole thing? The hand has nothing to do with it. It's you, the soul. You're the knower, and this is what you are knowing. You just know that your hand, something has happened to the hand. And then after, you know, couple of days or weeks, the hand is okay. And who's observing that the hand is okay? It's you, the soul. All right? Duality. All right? One is superior. This is you, the soul. One is inferior. The inferior energy is undergoing certain changes in material nature. And therefore there is disease or there is health. And the soul is observing the disease and the health of the hand. When you pacify with everything, it's all forgotten. When did it happen? How it happened? Oh, it happened, you know, 2 months back it happened. Then it's all forgotten. Who forgets? The hand forgot? Or is it that you forgot? So, is it clear, this thing about duality? Is it clear? I can't do better than this, you know. All right. Therefore, there is a duality of inferior and superior energy. Now, more difficult to understand because we are not having that experience. Whereas in the absolute real, both the knower and the known is of the same superior energy. There is no inferior energy in the spiritual real. Inferior energy by definition is asat. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah. Inferior energy means that which doesn't endure, that which is temporary, that which collapses, that which has a beginning, a middle, and an end. That which comes into being, grows, stays for some time, decays and dies. This is what inferior energy is. Spiritual energy means there is no beginning, there's no middle, there's no end. It is one steady, eternal, no change. So please study this verse with text 2:16 of Bhagavad Gita. Again and again and again, you have to study this. If you are able to grasp this one verse, 2.16 of Bhagavad Gita, you'll be able to figure out what Prabhupada is discussing here in 2.11. So in the absolute real, both the knower and the known are of the same superior energy, meaning there is no decay. It doesn't come into existence, there's no decay, therefore it remains same. So it's not that you discard something. There are three kinds of energies of the supreme energetic. Now Prabhupada is bringing in another understanding. So in the beginning, he's saying there are three Shaktis. All right? And now he's saying there is a Shaktiman. So Shakti and possessor of Shakti. Possessor of Shakti is the Purusha. All right? The Purusha is the possessor of three kinds of Shaktis. All right? There is no difference between the energy and energetic. But there is a difference of quality of energies. So there is no difference between the energy and energetic. We are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. If the Supreme Lord is made of Brahman, therefore we are also made of Brahman. In substance, we and the Supreme Lord, we are one and the same. All right. But there is a difference of quality of energy. So what is that? The absolute real and the living entities are of the same supreme energy. Okay. But the material world is inferior energy. So now among energies, there are different qualities. Can anybody tell me what are those three kinds of energies?
Internal, external, and marginal Mataji energies.
Antaranga,
Aladini,
Antaranga Shakti,
Antaranga Shakti or Bahiranga.
which is superior energy, internal energy, superior energy. Then there is the Bahiranga energy, which is inferior energy. Right? Why is it called inferior?
Because it's material and it's
Yeah.
it has a starting and an end.
Yeah, it's temporary.
That's why we call it inferior.
Very inferior.
It is inert. Like I just said, my hand get disease, it has nothing to do with it, it's not his business. It's our business, right? Inert matter, it's just inert matter. And then the Tatashta Shakti, the marginal energy. So these are the three energies. I hope you're writing it down because it's not there in this text. There's no difference. There are three kinds of energies of the supreme energetic. So the Shaktiman meaning the possessor of energy, the Purusha. Please write this down. That's why you're not able to understand this paragraph, because everything is not said. So I'm telling you so that you write it down. So Prabhupada is giving a synopsis of huge philosophy in one short paragraph. So Purusha, who's also said to be the Shaktiman, the possessor of energies. So this Shaktiman has three types of energy. One is Bahiranga Shakti, one is Bahiranga Shakti, and the in-between one is the Tatastha Shakti. So if you're making a drawing, you have to put Antaranga Shakti here, Bahiranga Shakti here, and then in between you put the Tatastha Shakti. So the Tatastha Shakti is a combination of Antaranga Shakti and Bahiranga. Okay, we got lost for one moment. Okay. This is such a difficult section. Okay, let's go back. There are three kinds of energies of the supreme energetic. There is no difference between the energy and energetic, but there is a difference of quality of energies. So you have heard about these three qualities. The absolute realm and the living entities of the same superior energy, Antaranga Shakti. But the material world is inferior energy. The living being in contact with the inferior energy is illusion, thinking he belongs to the inferior energy. Therefore, there is the sense of relativity in the material world. In the absolute, there is no sense of difference between the knower and the known, and therefore everything is absolute. So when, just see, like we actually, this Atma actually belongs to the Antaranga Shakti. Okay? Belongs to the Antaranga Shakti. But when this Jeev meaning that Jeevit, all right? Jeevit, Brahma Bhuta, this is our real self. But when that Brahma Bhuta becomes Jiva Bhuta, meaning you take birth, Jeevit, is he Jeevit? Is he alive? So what we are talking about here, we are speaking of a matter that has become Jeevit. All right? Matter, a shape. So it's created. This whole, your body is created. It's created, made of material energy. All right? Material energy. It's inert matter. It's made. If you study, all these Ayurvedic books, I read all this stuff. So intrigued. So it described, how this, the subtle body actually creates the gross body. It's created from the subtle body. Anyway, I read it a few times and I say, okay, I can't understand the creation of God, So put it aside, but at least I have understood this much. So here the shape is created, but the soul should take residence in it, then it becomes Jeevit. All right. So this Jeev start to believe that this gross matter in which he is living or she's living, start to believe that's him. All right. He starts to believe that's him. And this is his residence. And unfortunately, that residence crumbles. Crumbles day by day, it crumbles. And then one day you have to move out. You have to move out and sit in another house. And the new house will look the way you had imagined. All right. So Prabhupada is saying the living entity is in contact with the inferior energies, illusion. It's illusion. Thinking he belongs to the inferior energy is a thought, it's a concept, it's a misconception. He thinks he belongs to the inferior energy. Therefore, when we see death, we don't want to speak of death. Speak of death. Because we believe that we die. Inferior energy is transmuting, is deteriorating, is decaying, is dying. But I am identifying with that body. So he thinks he belongs to the inferior energy. Therefore, there is the sense of relativity in the material world. Because of the sense of relativity, that's why we are so confused. We don't know what we are. We know the world doesn't understand us. We know the world don't know us. So we become more and more lonely. Because there's a dissociation between our real self and this inferior energy. They're actually dissociated. But under illusion, I'm thinking I'm associated with the body. And other people look at you and think, what can he or she get out from you? The entire life is only seeing you. What can they get out from you? And if they see they can get nothing out of you, from you, then they have no business with you. And that's why we're so miserable. Because of this relativity. Therefore, there is the sense of relativity in the material world. In the absolute, there is no such sense of difference. There's no sense of belonging in this material world. I'm trying to belong somewhere. We actually say, where do you belong? From where do you come from? Where do you belong, right? We speak that way. And when the sense of belonging is over by force, like I just saw in the house, you just open your phone and so much information comes tumbling down. Anyway, one piece of information which is always relevant for us to understand the world. So it's speaking about ratio of men and women, right? So anyway, see in news also they write catchy headlines so that you'll open and read actually speaking nonsense. But anyway, we are fools, right? So we open and we read. So anyway, they gave, so many places, that places, the ratio of men and women, woman ratio is more than women. And I always heard Prabhupada say that ratio of men and women is equal. But, so what happened? Why is that ratio of man and women are more? Very simple. Because the men, they leave the place, they go to work somewhere else. So they go, and the women are left behind. I'm bringing up this point in the sense of relativity, dissociation from your real self. So you belong, okay, you belong to a particular group, and then finally, by force of earning, you're dissociated from your group. This material world, nobody's happy. There's only the threat of dissociation. Either by, these days, by separation or divorce or by death. So therefore, there is the sense of relativity in the material world. In the absolute, there is no such sense of difference between the knower and the known. And therefore, everything there is absolute. See, the truth is that Prabhupada is doing his best, and I've done my best to explain what is relative and what is absolute. But because we do not have an experience of what is absolute, therefore, we are only using some words to explain it in a negative way. We are saying it's not the experience of relativity. We are not able to give a positive description of the absolute, but we are giving a negative description of the absolute. Are you able to follow what I'm saying?
Please repeat the last line, Mataji.
I just said we don't have experience of the absolute because we are in the world of relative truth. So we are describing the absolute by describing the relative, by giving the relative truth. It's not this relative truth. It is not this relative truth. And we are saying this is the absolute truth. By giving a negative description of the relative truth, we are describing the absolute truth. Because actually, we don't know what is the absolute truth. But the sages are giving some explanation. And then what is the absolute truth will be revealed to us. And here Krishna is trying to explain to us what is absolute truth. This 2:16. So finally, everything has to be revealed to us. Knowledge is revealed to us. Krishna is revealed to us. The spiritual world is revealed to us. But here, only some information is given. All right. So, if you haven't studied sufficiently, then you will find this Bhagavatam very difficult to understand. So you must study your Bhagavad Gita thoroughly. Thoroughly means not once, many times. Many times. Okay, just tell me how you feel about this. Everybody was screaming on the group. Do this again, do this again. 2:11. Could you get something out of it today?
Yes, I did. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
The difficult, like you say, it's we're not going to know until it's revealed to us, so we can't describe it. So what all we talk about is what we read. Our experience will come as we go deeper and
Yeah.
closer to Krishna. Yeah.
But if you have been able to understand what is relative truth, you will get a good idea of what is absolute truth.
Yeah.
All right? Could any one of you understand what is relative truth? Asat. Relative truth is asat. Could any one of you understand, get an idea what is relative truth?
That keeps changing according to circumstances.
Okay. And then what?
It's illusionary truth, real for a short span. Like when we change, like our body changes from baby to childhood to old. That is relative truth.
Yes. Yeah, correct. And what else?
It is what we identify with.
Yes. What else?
It's that superior energy which is covered by inferior energy, and that's why it's identifying itself to be inferior. And then it is assessing the world to be not different than what it is in reality.
Yes.
Not duality.
Mataji, in this material world, everything actually is relative truth only. No, because we see in our day-to-day life also, one day the doctor will say butter is bad, ghee is bad, butter is good. Then they will say, no, butter is bad, ghee is good. Then they will say margarine is good, butter is bad. So it keeps on changing. So everything in this material world, in our experience, whatever we, that's all changing only, relative. So for us to understand something which is not never going to change, is difficult, because we have only seen duality in this world. Relativity.
So, therefore, there is the sense of relativity in the material world. It's something that doesn't exist in the spiritual world.
Mm.
You're right. So, you gave another example, ghee, butter, margarine. Right? Oh, God. So, you yeah, there's such a psychology behind our existence in this material world. And we are going to study this. I hope that you will be serious and steady, and if we manage to complete this one canto, Prabhupada has put everything in this. It's like a summary of the entire Bhagavatam. Prabhupada translated and wrote these purports in India, and he took this volume. There were 3 volumes before. They made it into one big volume. This is difficult to carry. This one canto, Prabhupada, he took with him and spread this movement. So he put everything in this. But because he was writing in a very concise way, so therefore we're not able to understand. But because we have studied a lot, so we know all this. So that's why I have spent 1.5 hours almost on this Chubaragra. It's very late. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Mataji.
Kalyan, Kalyan, Vaishnava,